driving right now on our way to our new adventure. We're moving from Minnesota to Colorado, and this has been like a 14-year dream ever since my husband and I got married. We've wanted to live out in the mountains, but we've never ever actually gone for it. So timing ended up being perfect, or it felt like it was. It felt like God was moving and He was opening doors for us to do this. So we jumped at the chance and decided it's time to go. And it was a hard decision, but it was a fast decision. It's been about maybe less than 12 weeks. I mean, it's been less than 3 months since we talked about the idea of going to actually going. So, but we really felt led, and we felt like now is not time. It's like now or never, really. And timing seemed perfect at the time, and then all of a sudden we had a pandemic 2 weeks later, and then we were in this transition going, do we go or do we stay? Do we wait for everything to be over, or do we just continue to move and walk in where we're feeling led? So we decided to just keep walking. We said the door will close if it's supposed to. And we just kept praying, Lord, close the door if it's supposed to be closed. Otherwise, we'll just continue to walk and trust in you. And we had to have some faith. We had a few obstacles we had to overcome. And along the way, God was faithful. And all I'm thinking about right now as we're driving is that we're in transitions or seasons. And there's a time for everything. So right now is our season of change. And it's a season of transition. It's a season of slowing down. I couldn't tell you last year when I broke my ankle, and God pretty much told me, you need to start slowing down. You need to let go of things you can let go of and trust me. Let go and let God. And so I started letting go of little rolls that I had, little by little, peeling away like an onion. It's not easy. It stings. It makes you tear up. But peeling away those icky layers to find the good. And not that those rolls were icky, because they all have been a part of me. But God was saying, simplify. And so that's what I did. And I didn't know, once I simplified, I realized nothing was holding me back or holding me there, really. It's not that it was holding me back, it was holding me there. It was holding me in Minnesota. And all of a sudden this door opened and it was like, I have nothing holding me there. I don't have a role or a job that's saying I have to stay. So it was interesting because last year at this time, if you would have asked me, are you moving? Why are you getting rid of all these roles? Or why are you doing this and that? I would have said, absolutely not. We can't. There's just no way. And it's just in timing, in God's perfect timing. And so transition is hard. So our roots are in Minnesota. My family all lives within essentially 5 to 10 miles of us. And Josh's family does too. We all live pretty much in a 10-mile radius. And so we've been really close. I feel like my family has gotten closer and closer as we get older, as we grow. And so leaving the cousins and nephews and nieces and my parents and my brothers and Josh's brothers and dad, and it's hard. It's not easy. That was one of the hardest decisions we had to make, was leave family. But we knew it was right. And that's one thing about transition. When you're called to change something, when you're called to move, when you're called to eliminate roles, whatever it is, when you're called to simplify, it feels right. It doesn't mean it's easy, because nothing's really easy. Nothing good is easy. You can't have victory without a struggle. You can't win without a fight. And so it doesn't mean it's easy, but it means that you will have a peace in your heart and you will know that it is right. And I feel like if those two things line up, even though on the outside it looks hard or it looks impossible or it looks like it might not be all that it was cracked up to be, if you have peace and you know it's right, then you've got to move. You've got to do what you're being called to do because it is right. And if you don't, you will live with regret, or you'll look back and question, why was I feeling that way? Or what would have happened if? And none of us want to do the what ifs. And that's where I was at. If we didn't do this, and if we didn't move when we felt called to and we felt it was right, I was going to look back and go, what if we did that then? Because who knows if we would ever do it. So I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling a stirring in your heart, not that you have to move states, if you're feeling a stirring in your heart about something that you feel called to do, or you have some transition, or you're being called out of a role, you're being called to simplify something, listen to that still small voice. Listen to it and walk in it, and walk until the doors close. The doors are open. And if they remain open, it doesn't mean it is easy. It means that they are open and that it isn't shut. So, anyway, that's just something I was thinking about as I'm driving. Enjoying the not so fun views, super flat. We're going through Iowa and Nebraska, two of the most boring states. Sorry if you live there. But they are pretty boring, and they are pretty smelly. So there you go. I got the two kids in the back. My husband's driving the big truck with my oldest. I do have a Panda sitting right next to me. He's my buddy. We're about halfway to Colorado. So we're in Nebraska, and Nebraska is halfway. You're in Nebraska pretty much the whole time. But I'm getting anxious to get there and see the mountains, see where our new place is going to be, and to make a new adventure, a new chapter for our lives, and to see what God has in store. It's nerve-wracking because it's the unknown, and no one ever likes to be in the unknown. No one ever likes to step out of their comfort zone, out of comfort, to go try new things. New things is good, but it's hard. So I'm excited for the unknown, but it is a little nerve-wracking. Are we going to meet new people? Are we going to fit in? Are we going to be able to do what we want to do? Are we going to get to go climbing and hiking? And is gymnastics going to open anytime soon? All the things that are going through our head. Where's our permanent home going to be? Because we're going to a temporary home right now as we figure out what we want to do and where we want to be for sure. And there's lots and lots of thoughts. And the one thing that I do know is that if we're not willing to step out of our comfort zone, if we're not willing to go into the unknown, then some of our greatest blessings will never happen. So not too long ago, I was talking about seasons and transition and how things are never as easy as they seem, or that in the transitions, just because it's right doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And then this happened. We thankfully didn't get stalled by the side of the road. I got off on to a gas station, but ended up getting stalled. So here we are, got towed 50 miles back in the direction we were coming from to figure out what's wrong with our car. And yeah, right? You can't have a victory without a struggle, and you can't win a fight you can't win without a fight. So there you are. Here's part of the struggle, but it's part of the journey, and we find joy in the journey. And we're thankful that I was off the highway and no one got hurt. So we'll see how long this intermission goes, and hopefully we'll be back on the road soon. All right, well, we spent the night in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Hampton Inn. So glad they could accommodate us because we were waiting to see what the situation will be with the van. Well, it looks like it's going to be too expensive, like $3,000 to repair. I don't think our van is worth that much. I wanted a new SUV anyway, so at some point I might get my wish. But so we're scrapping it today and getting a rental to get us to the rest of our trip. So we will see what happens. We got to enjoy the journey. It's a process, and you know what? We're creating memories right now, so we will not forget our move from Minnesota to Colorado. All right, we got our rental car. We got the truck. We're all good to go. It took us a while to pack that car, get everything back in there that we had in the van, but we did it. we're ready to go. We got about 7 hours left. If all goes well, 7 to 8 hours. And we should be in Colorado. Little hiccups, they happen, but we can get through them. We just keep pushing and we keep going. We just entered into Colorado, just a couple miles back. So here we are. We are in Colorado, about 2.5 hours to go, and we will be to our new temporary home. And we cannot wait. It has been a long drive, but an eventful drive that we will remember forever. But we are ready to go relax. And of course, relaxing means unpacking all of these cars and returning the rental and returning the truck and all of those things. So not so much relaxing this weekend, but that's okay. We are going to be happy to be home and done with this part of the adventure. One thing I was thinking about as I've been driving and we've encountered these different obstacles is that obstacles come to teach us something. Really, the giants in our way are there to teach us something, and we have to make the decision if we're willing to learn, if we're going to wallow in our misery, or if we're going to use it to propel us forward. And I think everything can be a learning moment. I had no idea I was going to have all these lessons as we were traveling from Minnesota to Colorado, but I've gained many different insights and different lessons along the way, and I'm choosing to use them. Instead of taking it the negative spin, I turn it into positive and saying this is a learning moment. It could have gotten us super frustrated and we could have just spiraled down, but instead we choose to use it. It's going to be a great memory. We'll get back, we will be able to talk about it for years to come, but I choose to use it as a learning moment. And you know, something else that happened yesterday that I don't know if I've talked about, as we were driving to the hotel and turning left to get into the hotel, I saw a biker get hit by a car, a bicycle. I've never seen that before. It was kind of an interesting scenario, and honestly, I'm pretty sure it was the biker's fault. They didn't have the right of way, and I think what was happening, because this car was turning right, I think they were inching forward to look and see, but there was a bush kind of in its way, so he couldn't see the biker. The bicyclist was just flying, and it looked like he definitely wasn't going to stop. And all I was thinking was, please don't turn left, Josh. Please don't turn left, Josh, because he was in the truck ahead of me, my husband. And if he would have turned left, he would have hit him. But because he had like the yellow flashing light, so he could have if there was no cars coming. So it was an interesting experience in itself. I saw the biker, he hit him very lightly. That's why I think he just kind of nudged forward just to see if he could turn right. But the biker was going so fast that the impact still hurt the car, and the biker went flying and fell onto the ground. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was so fearful for him in a way. And he did get up. He had a helmet on, thank goodness. And he got up and was walking around. I'm guessing more in shock than anything, and probably going to have a lot of bumps and bruises. But man, that's scary stuff. So that happened right after we dropped our car off at the auto shop. So it was an interesting day yesterday. Day number 2 so far has gone way more smoothly. We are almost there. So anyway, funny little stories to add to our adventure. So I get the comments a lot about how I have such a positive attitude or outlook in different circumstances that I'm going through, because I'm willing to post about them. For one, I feel like sometimes it's good for people to see what we go through, because they can relate, and they're like, oh man, I've been there, or I'm going through that right now too, or whatever. And just like I posted on Facebook the car dying, you know, and kind of what I was thankful for. And a lot of people did comment that you're always so positive and your attitude is so good with this, and it's true. But I want you to know, it doesn't mean that I'm positive all the time. I did like get mad at first and was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? You know? And I started going negative. And that's normal. It's very normal too. But here's the thing. We all have a choice. And we have a choice to either be negative or a choice to be positive. I fail a lot of the time and I end up choosing negative. A lot of time I do wallow in my circumstances or do things, but when I'm intentional, I realize I can decide, as can you, to choose positive and to choose to look at the gratitudes of what's happening rather than to look at the circumstance itself. And so some of the things that I was thankful for, I was thankful that, one, no one was hurt. I didn't get in an accident over it. And the thing I was the most thankful for was that I got off the stinking highway because I was heatering like 30 miles an hour in a one lane because there's construction on the one side. I was thankful that there was a tow truck driver who would come, and because of COVID, they wanted us, they didn't want passengers in the tow truck, and we didn't know what else we would do. And thankfully the one that came was totally fine with it. The auto shop we worked with was great. The hotel we stayed at was great. We got a rental really quick the next day. I mean, things worked out, and we could have been frustrated by it, which we were a little bit. I'm going to be honest, we were frustrated because it wasn't in our plan. Our plan was to get there and get there in one day and just be in our new home. But I'm thankful we aren't in a rush. I'm thankful that there's nothing we really have to be there for today. So we could take the time. So it's just finding those little things when circumstances are bad, looking at something that's good and looking for the positive so that we don't wind up spiraling down into the negative, because we get to choose the attitude we take on. Well, we're about 38 minutes away from our home, and a tire blew on the moving truck. Flung right back at me. Thankfully it didn't hit us. We're in the rental. Now we don't even know what to do. Budget closes in 5 minutes, so hopefully he's talking to them right now to figure out what the heck we need to do. More speed bumps. I'm telling you, I don't even know how many speed bumps are happening this trip. It's been an adventure. It's a busy road that we're on. And yeah, so you can see the truck in front of me. Thankfully, no one is hurt again. Well, we made it. We are in Denver. We made it from Minnesota to Colorado with some hiccups. So we unloaded the moving truck yesterday. We did it all in one swoop. And before that, we went and dropped off the rental, and then we dropped off the car tow, and then we came back and unloaded the moving truck, and then we brought the moving truck back all in one day. We wanted to get those trucks and vans and things that we rented all out of our hands as soon as possible, because we had some craziness. I'm telling you, I don't know why or how this all happened, but it was an experience of a lifetime. I'm telling you, we are never going to forget our move from Minnesota to Colorado. And as I'm reflecting on it, on our travels, one, it's going to be a memory forever. I mean, I'm thinking I could even write a book about it. That's it was almost like a movie. I mean, just getting to the climax. It took forever, you know, and then struggle after struggle after struggle. And then we made it. So it is what it is. And you know what? Resistance comes. In everything that we do, we're going to get resistance. And we have to decide if we're going to push through it or not. And I believe that that resistance was trying to stop us from doing what we knew we were called to do. Because like I said in the beginning, when you have peace about your decision and you know that it's right, then no matter what, you got to walk it out. Because as long as you have the peace, then you know that's where you're supposed to be. And we had the peace. Even in the midst of all that struggle, we had the peace knowing that what we were doing was right. And we're here. We've made it. We've already made a few different neighbor friends, and we're looking forward to seeing what life brings. And if we would have just caved in and gone back, we wouldn't know what life would be like here. So push through, get through that resistance, make it through those speed bumps, and come out the other side stronger.